Hello, readers. Welcome to 20 Questions with Your Favorite Author, where we ask authors important questions like, why would you agree to be on this podcast? I'm Kelly Lynn Colby, Editorial Director at Cursed Dragon Ship Publishing. Our guest this week is Michael K. Falciani, epic fantasy writer and dedicated teacher. Michael served in the U.S. Army Reserve and the National Guard before he started teaching, which has been his career for the last 22 years. Michael turned his hand to writing and has never looked back. He's currently working on a 6-book epic fantasy series titled The Raven and the Crow. He also enjoys time outdoors, hiking, running, and doing almost any physical activity. If he's not your favorite now, he will be after. Hello, Michael. Welcome to 20 Questions.
Why, hello. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Excellent. Well, we appreciate you coming in last minute. So we much appreciate that.
Yes, as I said, I feel like a special guest star on the 80s Love Boat. Like the main guy couldn't show up, so they've shuffled in. Who do we get? Let's get that guy. So I'm that guy.
Well, that guy is awesome. So thank you for being here. Excellent. So in your bio, it says that you teach. I'd assume etymology. Because in your bio, you have the word persephorating on imaginary battles or political intrigue. I mean, come on, who else is going to use that word? You teach etymology, right? I mean, you must.
Actually, I teach PE, physical education teaching. I did teach in the classroom for 21 years. And when the PE job came open, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go play kickball for a while and get paid to do that. So
that's
yes,
awesome.
I'm quite enjoying it. So.
What grades do you teach?
I teach kindergarten up to 5th grade at the moment.
Oh, now that's a fun group.
Yes, kinders, you should see them try to dribble, try to play hockey, try to run. Oh my God, especially at the beginning of the year. You know, I'm like, all right, follow me, and I forget how little they are and how tiny their feet are. And I'm halfway down the hall. I'm like, why am I by myself? I'm like, oh yeah, they don't know anything. I gotta run back. Who are you? Get over here! Stop! That's not a chew toy. Get in here! Just ridiculous. So yeah, they're
puppies,
they're
kindergartners, same.
Yes, they really. It's just like awesome. That, like herding kittens that are off their catnip. It's ridiculous.
That's so cool. Of course, that means they can't read your stuff. I mean, that's not fair.
You know what? They can't read it yet, but they're early fans. I talk to them all the time about my books, and they're like, yeah, great. So
that's awesome. Someday soon. Right. They do grow. So when you turned your hand to writing, how long did it take you to finish your first book?
So my first book is this one. It's The Raven and the Crow, Dark Storm Rising. I don't know if you can see it. There we go. That one took me I actually got it out really quickly, only took 25 years. And it was really a labor of love. I remember starting it off 25 years ago. I was like, why is this taking so long? And of course, you have a family, you have kids, you have a full-time job. Not that these are all excuses, but, you know, I probably spent maybe 5 or 6 years on it and really when the pandemic hit, it was almost done anyway. I said, you know, I'm going to finish this and I'm going to put it out in the universe and see what happens. And I was able to get on with 3 Ravens Publishing, and yes, cool. It was very exciting for me. And it was, you know, it was like a lifelong dream. And now I just, you know, I want to keep writing. It's like addicting.
Right. It's addictive. It's definitely addictive to see your words in covers. It's amazing. Yes. I agree. Totally feel you. So The Raven and the Crow series was the first ones, right? These are the first ones that you have published.
That's correct. This is going to be a 6-book series. I may have had some pressure to do prequels, which would be another 3 books. And the thing is, every time I write my characters, I think of, well, what's their backstory? And as I write their backstory, I'm like, I really want to write those books. So yeah, it is a lot of fun. But yeah, the first one was Dark Storm Rising, and that is a 6-book series. I also started a dwarven steampunk series because why not, right?
Well, actually, I'm wondering about that. Like, what is dwarven steampunk? Like, what makes it I was like, I've never heard of this. That sounds so fascinating.
Yeah, so I've actually researched on it because I didn't know what exactly to call it. And there's a zillion, you know, minor niches and sub fantasy categories. But you know, for me, it's as though electricity and things like that weren't really invented. It's like the steam engine was the epitome of technology, and what what did they do as they expanded with that? And so in this case, you know, my
Oh,
dwarven
yeah.
steampunk, yeah.
I get steampunk. It's the dwarven part.
Oh,
Like
I see.
what? Yeah, that's the part. I was like, what? Oh, I need to see what this is. So what specifically makes it dwarven? Like, are all your characters dwarves, or are they just the engineers? Like, what is
Okay,
this?
so yes, I have many dwarven characters, but here was my issue. I've
Mhm,
always loved dwarves, and I
mhm,
started playing you know, Warhammer Online back in the day before it went defunct. And I always play, I used to play EverQuest. I played a bard. You know, I always played these cool characters. I saw one guy playing an engineer. I was
mhm,
like, you know what? I want to try that. And let me tell you, I fell in love with my dwarven engineer. And of course, once I
that's
stopped
awesome.
playing, I always had it now because I wrote a little short story that kind of told me like how he became an engineer. And that became a short story that I sent into a publishing contest. And even though it wasn't selected, it was
Mhm,
good enough where that person who was doing the deciding said, "Hey, I want to talk to you about some other stuff." And he just nonchalantly said, "You know, you could turn this into a novel." And I was like, "Yeah, I could." When I got done with the second book from Darkstorm Rising, I said, "I'm gonna write
mhm,
that dwarf." I needed a break, so of course I did this. Now I don't just have dwarves, but to me, dwarves have always been cast kind of two ways: comic relief
mhm,
or the dank, dour, nasty. I'm grumbly all the time, which is fine. I mean, that's great. It works for
right.
them. But why can't we have
Mhm,
dwarven warlocks? Why can't we have dwarven druids? Why
mhm,
can't we have a dwarven bard?
right.
This is the epic
Mhm,
fantasy or the dwarven steampunk epic fantasy, high fantasy that I wrote. And of course, I got to write their counterparts, the sallow skins, the
mhm,
goblins, the orcs, the trolls, the ogres. And I really got to explore like how to write those kind of characters. I had
mhm.
so much fun writing this first book, and that will actually be a 3-book series as well.
That's awesome. Uh, Steve says steampunk is what happened when Goths discovered the color brown. That's a
Oh,
quote he heard
there we
somewhere.
go.
I'm like, that's
I
awesome.
stand corrected, Steve. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It
I-
was a lot of fun to write. And I honestly, I'm thrilled that my first 2 novels are out. I cannot wait to get some feedback on this one. I just thought it was so much fun. One of my main characters is a dwarven bard named Omens, and he's like a ladies' man. He says and does all the things I wish I could say and do, you know? And like he's always in trouble. He's always on the run. Somebody's always after him. He doesn't care. He's like, hey, I'm gonna do what I do best, and that's that. So yeah, he's a lot of fun.
That's so funny. That's fun. That's fun to write. I was very, very interested by that entire concept. I thought it was
Thank you.
cool. And you started with fantasy, and obviously this is still in the fantasy
Yes.
category. Why do you choose fantasy?
You know, ever since I was a kid, I've always I enjoyed reading. Period. When I got a hold
Hmm.
of The Hobbit, I remember reading David Eddings' Pawn of Prophecy. There's something about that
Hmm.
idea of a whole world that was based on your own creation and your gods and your lore and your magic and the way things put together, and just the idea of
Hmm.
that a group of people or one person working together. And as I got older, I got into David Gemmell, who's like, I'm a huge fan of his.
Hmm.
He's the main influencer of my writing. But I've always enjoyed reading, and epic fantasy was always kind of my favorite thing. This doesn't mean I don't like other stuff. I don't like other stuff. I do, but that's kind of what I wanted to read, and that's what I wanted to write, and that's how it started.
That is fascinating. Um, I see a lot of people start with fantasy and then decide what they like, but some people love it, right? So that
Right.
seems
Yeah.
like you love it. Me too. I love it. That is my jam. So I get that. I have to say I did start on the Dark Storm Rising,
Okay.
and I found it very fascinating that the very first character is a sage who traditionally,
Yes.
is a wise person of learning, sometimes healing. It depends on your world, right? Yet you
Right.
named her Blade, which is a symbol of battle and protection. Like, what's the story here? What was that creative choice?
Well, I can't really. You just started. I don't want to ruin it. However, I will say Blade is a very complicated woman. She has
Mm-hmm.
a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
We just see the kind of very tip of the iceberg with her, and you see
Mm-hmm.
these two gentlemen that I still call them gentlemen. They're really not, but you see these two guys she deals with, and they don't pull any punches.
Mm-hmm.
They are in it for the money. They have zero love for anyone. They are, again, to me, I'm sorry, fantastic characters that have a great storyline. And as you read it, and I hope you do, you will see it
Mm-hmm.
unfold. Where everybody starts off is not where they end. And I needed somebody to kind of be the mentor or the center of it of everything that's going to happen, and that is Blade. Blade is a sage with great knowledge, and I think that's what I was thinking. I need somebody with knowledge, but she packs a whole lot of other things inside of her. And as the story continues, her story will unfold along with all the others.
Interesting. Well, she did fascinate me, so I look forward to seeing more of her story and these mirror falls you talk about. I'm interested.
Yes.
Yes. I'm excited. So I also noticed that the audiobook for this novel is nominated for an Imagine Award. Congratulations.
Thank you. Although I didn't read it.
Well, still, I mean, that's still pretty cool. And the second book is nominated for a Dragon Award, which is totally cool.
Yes, yeah.
Someday, Dragon Award's on our wish list, man, because we love DragonCon. It's our favorite convention. So what does it mean to you to be nominated for prestigious awards like these?
Well, to get the first one that I got nominated for was the audiobook, and it's narrated by an absolutely fantastic voice actor named Joshua Saxon. And he did the second book as well. I mean, I never really listened to audiobooks, but when I heard him, I was like, don't stop reading. Oh my God.
You're like, this is perfect.
But this is my first foray into writing. It's my first book. So to get any kind of award at all was a surprise. And of course, it was a great surprise. And of course, I mean, I'm very proud of the writing. I think it's good. And to be coupled with somebody of his caliber, Joshua Saxon, he's very accomplished. He's read 60, 70 books. He could have picked whatever book he wanted. And when he took a look at the beginning of mine, and we actually had him on our podcast, and he's, kind of shy. He's almost a recluse. And we got him out. We were like, come on, man, you got to talk to us, because my publisher and I are very outgoing. And he was so brilliant just to talk to. And he just said it's such a different kind of fantasy read. And that's what drew him to it. So I was really thrilled that he picked it. And to be nominated for it was incredible. Now, the DragonCon nominee, I still don't think my jaw has, gotten off the ground from that.
Right.
When my publisher sent it to me, I was like, I'm sorry. What just happened here? Did you say, I thought you said DragonCon, but I know that's not what you said. He said, no, man, it's going to be DragonCon. I was like, okay, so who are you? Who do you know? What is going on? And, of course, being the great guy that he is, William Joseph Roberts, he said, Michael, this is as good as anything that's out there. And of course, I believe that, but I wrote it. So it's really nice to hear that from others. And, to get it from somebody, and I've had other authors tell me the same thing. They're like, man, this is your first novel? I was like, well, yes, but I wrote these. It took me a long time. So it was really nice to hear that. I was actually very flattered and quite humbled. So that's how it felt.
That's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. Well, we're impressed. So just so you know. We have a couple books up for an Imagine Award too. So we're excited to see. So mid-July, I think, is when they make the announcement. So I'm very excited about that. So we spoiler alert, we talked before a little bit, and you said that you have not been to DragonCon before.
I have not.
So you're missing out. You totally have to go. But
I know.
Are there other conventions you've been to that you've really enjoyed?
So I've actually just been to the one. I went to LibertyCon 2 weeks ago. It was my first convention. I got the little newbie first timer badge on there.
Awesome.
I will tell you, I am not afraid of going out and talking to people. I had the greatest time at this convention. They did an epic fantasy world building panel. And I walked in, I was like, yeah, and I saw a bunch of people. I was like, how's it going? How's it going? And I sit down, hey, there's some guys. I'm like, it's good to meet you. Good to meet you. I didn't know who they were. All these guys were like New York Times bestselling authors. I'm like, I'm Michael K. Falciani. I'm nobody. So it was really quite funny. One of the guys
was Kevin J. Anderson one of them?
Kevin was not in that panel.
Oh, okay.
He was not. Although I don't think I met him, but I did see him. I was like, that guy. Anyway.
Yeah.
But no, I actually went to one of his panels. But yeah, I forget. Cal, this guy Cal was there. He was great, and he had said something like, I just finished my 31st book, and he went on about who he was, and I was the next one to speak, and I just looked at, I was like, 31 books, dude. And I just looked at the audience, and I was like, listen, everyone, I'm Michael K. Falciani. I've written 2. So if you have any questions that these gentlemen can't answer, believe me, I've got you covered. And everybody kind of laughed. So it was very exciting to be sitting with so many great writers.
Yeah.
And speaking my mind, I like to think I held my own, but I don't really know. So it was a lot of fun.
Based on this interview, I'm going to say you probably held your own just fine.
Thank you. And I was introduced to Tony. She's the head person at Bain. Bain. I was sitting there going, how am I even speaking to her? And she brought me to this sword master, fighting. And they were like, is any volunteers? I was like, I'm coming up. I'm gonna fight a sword master. And I've got my ass handed to me. I didn't care. I was like, I don't care. I'm going wild on this guy. So
yeah,
I was walking
it's
around
Tony
with
Weisskopf, I think.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
I'm so bad with
yeah.
names. But I'm walking around with bruises. Like, dude, what happened? I was like, I was in a sword fight. That's what happened. I totally lost. It was amazing. Yeah, those guys were great. So I mean, I'd never been in a sword fight. So I was like, man, I learned a lot from just that.
That's
and then
awesome.
The sword master gave me this compliment. He said, man, you're pretty fast. I was like, thanks. As he kept whacking me on the head, I was like,
you're like, oh yeah, real fast. See the bruises? Yeah.
I know.
Maybe he meant fast to bruise.
No, he meant, no, come on now. I'm fast. I was quickly killed, I think is what he actually meant. So, no, I had a great time. I got to meet Steve Jackson from Steve Jackson Games. That was a lot of fun. He actually was interested in, so I actually made up a little, kind of like a gambling game for my world. I was sitting on the beaches of Mexico and I was like, I need a game that nobody knows about. And I read this old chapter from Gary Gygax, one of his first novel. And I remember it had something in there. And as I read through it, I was like, I liked it. I don't know what he's doing, but I'm going to go with something like that. And I mentioned it to my publisher. The next thing I know, he's like, hey, Michael, what are you doing at 2:00? I was like, I don't know, nothing. He's like, you want to meet with Steve Jackson? I was like, what? What? Why? He's like, well, we want to talk about your game. That little card game I made? What are you talking about? So the next thing you know, I'm sitting there with Steve Jackson talking about my card game, and then we're going out to dinner.
Man. Yeah,
I know. I know.
Yeah.
I was sitting there playing Munchkins with Steve Jackson. It was crazy. And all these kids were there. My publisher's kids were there. It was great.
That is awesome. Did we get a fanfare for what was the fanfare for?
Steve Jackson, probably.
Steve Jackson.
Steve Jackson? Okay.
Munchkin with Steve Jackson. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
And of course, I didn't know how to play. I never played. And the kids were arguing about the rules. I was like, I'm pretty sure we could ask Steve Jackson what the rules are on this game.
He's not very anal about them, though. That's part of the reason why I adore him.
No, he was so nice. He was so nice. I would have never
Steve Jackson's
known
a great guy.
Super famous, and of course he is. And the youngest kid was helping me. I'm like, come here, Squirt, because I couldn't remember his name. He's Squirt, get over here. What do I do? And he's giving me all this advice. I'm like, yeah, we're doing that.
Whatever he said, yeah.
Right. I'm taking my cues from the kid. So it was a lot of. I had an absolutely great time at LibertyCon. I will be going to the Imaginarium con in Kentucky in about 10 days. Yeah. So I'm excited about that because I was like, I don't know how many awards I'm going to be up for in my career. So I'm going to go and see how it goes. But yeah, it should be fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, we debated going, but between the big cons we had this month and Dragon Con's coming up, and it's like we just can't make all of them. But we tried, man. We tried. Well, if I heard correctly, you mentioned a podcast. You have a podcast?
Well, it's not mine. It's my publisher's. He does his podcast. I think it's TB something radio, pirate radio or something. I don't know.
Oh, TDB. That's right.
Yeah,
TDB radio. Yeah. I saw that on the website. Okay.
Yeah, he does this crazy intro. I'm like, what the heck? And then we just get on there and we talk like this. So it's a lot of fun. No, I don't have a podcast yet. I'm building up to that.
Nice. Next step. It's always next steps. There's always one more thing to do. Oh, Zafo linked it on there. Yeah, TDB. I remember TDB because it's TBD in my head, so I remembered it was reversed. So I wonder what it stands. Do you know what it stands for? Oh, it's the publisher, right? No. So what's it stand for? Do you know what it stands for? We'll ask William.
No idea.
We'll get William on here, and then we'll ask him. Let's see. So we talked about things you already have going. We talked about the dwarf steampunk coming out in August. And what was the name of that one? Or in the fall? What was the name of it?
So that's going to be, let's see, The Dwarves of Ram, Omens of War.
Ooh.
And I named it Ram.
Mm-hmm.
The dwarves, my little country of dwarves is called Ram because I was watching golf one day and John Rahm is a golfer. and he won. And I was rooting for him, and I was like, yeah. So I was like, Dwarves of Rom, I'm doing it. And that was it. That was how I came up with the name. It was terrible. But I actually love this, how it was sounded, how it looked. It's like, no, this is good. It'd be a golfing dwarven character. Why not?
Gonna work, man, 100%. So are there any other projects coming up that you're over the moon excited about?
So I have a couple. There's I'm working on the third book in the Raven and the Crow series. I'm about halfway through that, and I am excited. I've been so whirlwind summertime ever since I got out of school. I have been running to cons, and I actually just got back from RageCon, which is a gaming convention in Reno. And I spent 3 days selling there and networking and making connections with so many great folks there. I was in it came from the Trailer Park anthology, which hit #1 on the Amazon charts for horror anthologies.
The funniest cover. Oh my gosh, that cover.
Oh yeah. Well, they revealed that second, so I put in for the second volume 2. I hope I get it. We'll see. I know it's highly competitive, so we'll see how that goes. I have another anthology that's coming out in Mischief of Magic, which is actually a crossover story short between Darkstorm Rising and the Dwarves of Rom. Because I've decided they're all going to be in the same universe. And I've gotten some of my favorite characters from both, and they're going to meet. So I was, excited about that.
Oh, yeah, that's so much fun. Fans love it, too. Because, I mean, it's fun. We like to see our characters get together. That's really cool.
I mean, that might be out before my Dwarven book. We'll see. I'm not sure. And then I have another one that's going to be out, Embers of Corsaria. I have a short story in that called The White Death. It's about a hunter who is hunting after this huge polar ice worm that constantly attacking under the ice, and they have to hunt it down and track it. No, I had so much fun writing these short stories. So those are some of the things that I have coming up.
Excellent. I have to say, it looked like, you can't always tell when you're looking at those digital samples, but it looked like you have 2 spaces after your periods. Yes,
I'm old.
Well, same age. We're like the same age here. And so I just wanted to know, is this just like, it's so rebellious. Like it's so rebellious to do that. Is this a personal thing, or is it a Three Ravens publishing house rule?
No, it's definitely a personal thing. I learned to type on a typewriter, not a computer.
I feel you.
And back in those days, you had to do the double space. It's just automatic. I tried not to. I was like, you know what? I can't. I'm just gonna do the double space. They can yell at me if they want to. That's fine.
That's great. Just for the record, William's nicer than I am, because I'd be like, nope, fix it.
Yeah, I know. Well, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, apparently. So.
Nope, but you can teach him how to use the find and replace.
See, you lost me. I don't know what you're talking about. No, I do know that, but you're probably right. I should do a better job with it, but when he starts yelling at me, I'll fix it, I guess. Gee, don't tell him I said that. He'll start yelling at me.
He won't yell at you. He'll make a snide remark underneath it.
Right? No, it's great. He's great. What a great publisher. I'm so thrilled to do with Three Ravens, so it's nice.
Yep, I adore William. He's awesome. Met him at Superstars.
So. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, he loved it there.
Yeah, he's awesome. And I can't wait to because apparently he makes mead. So we're very excited to go get together at Dragon Con. Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's how we got Steve Jackson on board, was the mead. That had something to do with it.
No doubt, man. No doubt. That's why my husband brews beer. So, homemade beer will go far too. Yeah, whatever you make, man, do it. It works.
No, I'm whatever works.
It works. So let's turn to stuff that you do when not tied to your desk. So do you have a favorite? You talked about like you like outdoor stuff. That's in your bio, right? You like doing outdoor and anything that gets your blood pumping. So do you have a favorite park that you like to frequent, like to go hiking and spend time outdoors?
I spend a ton of time hiking I live in Nevada, and I'm very close to Lake Tahoe. I was actually up at Tahoe yesterday, and it was Monday, so it was quiet. I went to a private beach only local people know about. I basically had the beach to myself with this gal that I'm seeing. It was so nice. Those crystal clear blue waters. It was quiet. I was sitting there going, we just looked at each other. We were like, how did we get this lucky to just be here? So I do like Tahoe. Now, having said that, I love to hike around here. I hike almost every day. what I do when I'm out there, if it's after work, I get out there, I
Mm-hmm.
collect my thoughts. A lot of times I'm thinking about what am I going to be writing tonight? What do I need to work on?
Mm-hmm.
What's happening in this scene? How do I want this to unfold?
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy worlds have been built on those trails as I walk around. And I love being in shape. I love
Mm-hmm.
exercising. I mean, I'm PE
Mm-hmm.
teacher, for God's sakes. I gotta be active. If I'm not active, I'm going crazy. So it's definitely something I like to do. I like to swim. I like to
Mm-hmm.
whitewater rafting. If you
Mm-hmm.
name a sport, I've probably played it, including sword fighting.
You're like, I'm adding that to my list.
That's right. One of my skills. Dying
That's a new
quickly.
skill. Well, have you found that when you learn these new things, it actually is easier to write about it?
Oh, that's exactly why I did it. I was like, I'm going up there because I want to know. It was amazing. I was only up
Mm-hmm.
there for a couple minutes,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 10 minutes. I learned so much in that 10. I was like, man, it's just like holding the sword, is the weight
Mm-hmm.
of it. And,
Mm-hmm.
using two weapons and how, oh my God, and even the sword master was like, I'm starting to read he's reading my stuff. And even though I write about that, because I know
Mm-hmm.
it is interesting to do it, because I was like, I'm not reading anything. I'm just going for the kill the whole time. So, I think once you slow down, you're like, oh, okay, you get more experience. And that, of course, is
Mm-hmm.
extremely important. So, yeah, it does make
Mm-hmm.
it easier to write, in my opinion, anyway.
That makes sense. I'm sure people who do that appreciate it, right? Like if they know about swords and you get it wrong, they get mad. Like
Yes.
we do. We have a horse and my daughter rides, and so we're at the barn a lot. So when people get horse things wrong, it makes me so mad. I'm like, no, it's not
Right.
that hard. Do your research. So I can see that. So I've often, because also writing fantasy, there always seems to be sword battles, right?
Yes.
I was like, I think I need to take a class, so that I'm not getting these things wrong.
Well, you're
So,
right about the horses and
mhm.
ships and how far they
Yes.
travel and
Yep.
what do you have to do to take care of the horse? Everyone's like, get on the horse and go. Yeah, like you gotta rub it down and you gotta feed it and you gotta make sure it's water. I mean,
Mhm.
and I'm no means a horse expert. Everyone's like, yeah,
Mhm.
let's gallop all day. I was like, can you run all day? No. What are you talking about? We go to walk and then a canter for a bit. Then I'm just saying, I try to be pretty realistic with these things. And
Right.
I'm
We're asking
aware
them
of
to
it.
believe enough, right? So the things
Right.
that are
Right.
verifiable, those need to be real. So yeah,
Yeah, and
100%.
after hiking around in the mountains, I'm like, okay, my characters aren't going to make it 60 miles in a day. No, that's not going to happen. I mean, maybe if they're on a spaceship, but this is crazy.
Not without a portal, right? Which is why they put
Right.
the portals in EverQuest, because we were tired
Right.
of taking all day to run across the continent.
Yes, God, what a fun game. I love that game. I love that
Yeah.
game so much.
Yeah, we did
So
too. We
great.
played the heck out of that game.
Yeah, that
EverQuest
was
and then
fun.
EverQuest 2. And then we had kids and then they wanted attention.
Yeah.
Psh.
Life
I mean,
ended as you
dude.
knew it.
Yeah. Like, but I have gaming to do. You're fine. You'll be fine. You can eat tomorrow. Yeah, that never worked. I don't know.
You can eat tomorrow.
Well, we were. What's the problem?
Right.
Obviously we didn't do that. They survived to adulthood somehow. So let's see, where were we? We're having fun. That's what we're doing. See, I told you it's fun. I hope you're having fun. Are you having fun?
I know I got you off track. I feel terrible.
No, don't feel terrible. Off track's the fun part. So all your activity, all your outdoor activities and all the fun that you've had, is there somewhere you haven't been yet that you'd like to visit?
Oh, there's so many places.
Mhm.
Machu Picchu is my next, trip that I want to take.
Mhm.
I want to go to Iceland. I mean, not only is it great research, but I want to go, and I want to go while I can go and do those things. I mean, Machu Picchu, you don't get an elevator; you got to walk up there. So I
Mhm.
want to do this before, while
You
I
can't?
still can.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Right.
Yep.
I want to. I mean, luckily I've been able to snorkel and swim and do lots of great things in the ocean and Pacifics. But yeah, there's lots of places I'd like to go, especially the Mediterranean, which my Raven and Crow series
Mhm.
takes place in a similar setting, the Mediterranean Sea. So I use a lot
Mhm.
of things from that, a lot of influence from that.
Excellent. Yeah, no, it's fun. There's so many places. But that's why I thought my in-laws went to Machu Picchu. And they were like,
Oh.
the knees, it was so hard on their knees climbing, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, we need to go before we can't. Yeah, it's gotta, we
Yeah,
need to move
I
that
hear
up.
you.
Yeah. There's and I don't do very well in altitude. Like even when we do superstars in Colorado,
Oh yeah.
I literally can't breathe. I need more oxygen.
Oh yeah.
I live at sea level for a reason. So the lack of oxygen is horrid, and Machu Picchu is even higher. So
Yeah, I live at altitude. Carson City is pretty high, but I remember
Mm.
when I climbed Mount Whitney. I
Mhm.
mean, I saw people dropping left and right. because they didn't prepare like they should have. Like I remember I camped at like 8,000, 9,000 feet. Took some Advil, drank a ton of water, got to the top. I was like, hey, I feel great. But it can happen to anybody. I was like, I just want to get there and not throw up or get dizzy or whatever.
Yeah, I'm so sensitive to it. I even had trouble when we went to Vegas. So I was like, and I know it's not even that high, right? Yeah. So, but I felt it. I felt it big time.
Oh, it's definitely altitude. Yeah, that's definitely up there.
Yeah, it's madness. So I need to do Machu Picchu before I'm too old to adjust. Of course, we're running a company. Who knows? It's worse than having children.
Should go on a trip to Machu Picchu.
There must be a convention there. Surely we could use.
I'm sure there's one somewhere nearby. Probably not in the ruins, but.
Well, I hope not. I've seen convention goers. I'm one of them. You don't want me in there either. No, not for a convention.
I stand corrected.
It's the mead's fault.
Yeah, I know.
It's all the mead's fault.
It was good.
Well, I have to say, so we talked about a lot in Nevada, so you're out there, but your bio says you were born in upstate New York, and that's where you grew up. So you've got a lot of East Coast stuff and a lot all the way in the West. Which do you prefer? Which part of the country do you prefer?
God, my mother's gonna kill me. I will say Nevada. I actually prefer, and not for the reasons you might think. Upstate New York is beautiful. Oh my God, the Adirondack Mountains are beautiful. I grew up. My parents ran a bed and breakfast called the Inn at the Edge of the Forest. It should have been called the Inn. It should have been called the Inn in the middle of the forest. It was not at the edge. We were surrounded by trees. I mean, it was lovely.
That sounds like a fantasy title to an inn.
Oh, don't worry. I'm sure I'll stick it in somewhere. But yeah, no, it was beautiful. It was a nice little upstate town. It was very tiny. My mom grew up there. No, it was beautiful. What I don't love about it is the humidity and the mosquitoes in the summer. Mosquitoes like water. Upstate New York has a lot of water. Nevada is so dry that I barely see anything out here. Like jackrabbits and deer, which have migrated into town. Once in a while, I'll see a coyote or a bear roaming around. But mosquitoes are scarce, thank goodness. But that dry heat is much. I just feel like it's a little easier for me when I go back and visit. I'm sitting there going, "Oh my God, I forgot what it's like here." And of course, it's beautiful. I love it too. The winter in upstate New York I actually prefer because it's so, the snowfall is so beautiful. It's just crystalline beauty, and you'd get that here in Tahoe sometimes too. But Carson's not quite as fun in the wintertime.
Very cool. Very cool. So you would die in Houston, just for the record.
Is that right? Is it swampy?
Yeah, we have to swim, from the car into our air-conditioned house. We have to swim. I actually kind of like it, though, so it works for me.
Hey,
there's lots of oxygen.
So. Yeah, that's right. That's very true.
Lots of oxygen. So we have made it to our lightning round.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. Ready? What is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Chocolate chip cookie dough.
Oh, good choice. Can zombies climb?
Yes. Why would they not climb? They have hands and legs.
Sorry, Steven. All right. With 4th of July around the corner, what is your barbecue go-to?
I'm not much of a griller, so I'm going to say...
Everyone has to have their flaws.
Right. I'm going to say hamburgers probably is
that's
as
fair.
Strong as I'm going to go. Yes.
Okay, no, that's fair. There's no wrong answer for that one. Polos or button-ups?
What's a polo? What's a button-up?
Polo. I think you're wearing a polo right now.
I think I'm going to go. It's not a button-up. Whatever this is what I go for. Yeah, I don't think I own a button-up.
I like the button-ups. Okay, pick one. Star Trek or Star Wars?
This is an easy choice.
Is it?
Neither.
I have to go follow direction. It's the double spacing all over again.
I have to go with Firefly. I like that one better than both of those. If I had to pick between those two, I'll probably go Star Wars. But I like them all, so
It's fair. It's fair. I mean,
Firefly, though. I'll take Firefly.
Yeah, we too. We'll take Firefly too. We're actually looking forward to Disney redoing it because we want more. So we're just going to cross our fingers and hope for the best.
Yeah.
So
capture the magic.
That's right. Please do. Who is your favorite band or musician?
Zac Brown Band.
Oh, good choice. What is your least favorite chore around the house?
I don't love putting away dishes. I know it's easy, but I'm like, can't do anything but this right now.
It's that repetitive
Sorry.
stuff. It's like, again, I have to do this again. Yeah, I'm with you.
Not my favorite.
Nope, sounds fair. And finally, where can fans find you and your work?
So you can find me and my work. I'm on everything. Michael K. Falciani is on Facebook. It's on Twitter. It's on TikTok. It's on Instagram. You can find if you type in michaelkfalciani.com, it'll take me to my webpage where you can subscribe to my newsletter. My work is found on Amazon.com. It's on Kindle Unlimited. It's on. It's also, I think you can find it on Walmart. You can find it on Barnes and Noble. You can find it a lot of different places. Amazon is the one is on the most prevalent, but it's everywhere. It's a household name.
It's everywhere. Find the book that you love. So welcome. Now that Michael is your new favorite author, please make sure to review his work. You can also review us wherever it is you get your podcast. You can follow us on twitch.tv/cursedragonship, and you could subscribe on cursedragonship.com/YouTube. And we will see you next week with Joelle Reyes. I'll ask her next week how to actually say her name next Tuesday. So we'll see you then. Thank you.